Hi, Feral fam. Welcome to another episode of We Are Feral, and this is Sarah from Summa Salts.
Yeah, wonderful to meet you guys. Finally. Instagram know you.
Thank you so much for stalking us and making me stalk you.
Of course. Yeah, well, we have the Jax Creators connection, so that, I do those events too, so it's neat to see you guys there.
That's cool.
Yeah.
No, I love him.
Ryan Jax Creators is awesome.
Oh my gosh, we were like, he goes, I had to do this, and I was like, I know, I haven't eaten yet. I'm about to take a poo.
He is always his authentic self. Ryan's his authentic self all the time. Yeah, no filter, it just comes out. Whatever he's thinking. Yeah, he doesn't.
I was like, I didn't expect to. I was like, but I'll share too.
You just know things, Ryan.
I'll share my what I'm doing right now too. He's cool. Yeah, so I mean, I think that like having a place like that or a facilitator, and then all of a sudden all of us feel comfortable enough to just be our most authentic selves. That's
there's been so many cool connections that have come out of that. Like I got a headshot done recently by somebody that I met there, and I've done like all kinds of like other little collabs, like photography. I had a videographer that I kind of met through there and through the owner here, Tiki Java. So like so many different connections through that group of people and all the people that they know. So it's a great group. I'm always like Team Jax Creators. It's a great time.
Because we belong.
Yeah.
Who did you get to do your headshots, if you don't mind me asking?
It was Michael Glass, and he's like works for a big like marketing agency and everything, but comes to the Jax Creators events and has his own stuff going on. But he's like super fancy, guy to have your headshot, And I had no pictures, headshots with me like with my own salts, and I was like, Michael, we need a.
It was crazy. It was like that was one of the first things that pulled up for me for you.
Well, after that picture, then I put it everywhere. Of course, I put it as my headshot on LinkedIn, and it's like one of my main pictures pinned in my profile on my Instagram. So now it's like all over the place. But I was like, I need like a salt lady headshot. Like I need the headshot that's like me with my salt and the thing. So that's cool. Michael made it happen. Jax Creators, all the stuff made it happen. So I got it now. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. How'd you become the salt lady?
It was an accident. Like I always tell people, like this salt thing is just totally an accident. I was just kind of like making these for fun at my house during COVID times. I kind of like I was not quitting. I had not quit teaching yet, but I was already pregnant, and it was COVID times, and they were like, the rules around how much you could mask and not mask, and she was high risk, so I was just not in the classroom. So I was just at home, like fighting insurance and making salts and just kind of hanging out all through the lockdown. Like I was really, really locked down because the baby was high risk. So I was just sitting around doing it for fun. And then I knew I wasn't going to go back to teaching. So I was like, all right, when this baby's born, I quit, and then I'm going to be done anyways. I was just going to be a stay-at-home mom and hang out and do that thing, and my husband was going to be like a phone carrying tech guy, and I was just going to like do that life. So I was just like, even when she was born, I was like, oh, that's salt or whatever. Some people were like, you should like do this. Maybe you should like start a business. And I was like, I don't know business law things. Like, I don't know, like I'm a teacher. Like, I don't know anything about starting a food business. I cook a lot, and I've always like worked meal prep jobs, things like that. But like, I don't know how to actually start a food business. And, so I just had the baby, and then, like that's a lot, so I was like, oh, I got this baby, whatever. You guys sit over there and tell me that I'll need to start a business. But I'm about to have a baby, so that is just definitely not happening. But then after she was born, it was like, oh, maybe like I'll just do this for fun. And I'll like, because I don't have any community anymore. I quit teaching, so like all my friends are gone. Because I taught since I was 18 at the same school since I was like 22. Okay. So I was just like, well, let me just go meet some friends. And at the same time, I was like trying to feed us locally, because that's really important to me. Yeah. And that's one of the things, like when me and my husband met, I was like, I'm gonna feed our family local. So he was like, sure, whatever, like, you're in charge of that. So I was like, all right, well, now I have time, so let me figure this all out. And I was just deep diving like where to get chicken. Like if you look back in messages with my Ram neighbor, she's a chicken farmer, like my first messages to her are like, do you sell chicken in bulk, and now she's like my closest friend, and we like see each other every single week. But I was just trying to figure out how to eat, and then I was like, oh, markets are fun, I love markets, farmers markets is like my home. And I think actually I heard you do astrology. Somebody like did a star chart thing of me, and like my place is market, like and I was like, that just like fits, like I am home in the market. So I was like, I'll just go meet some friends, this will be fun. And I did, and then they sold out, and then I made more, and then I made more friends, and now I'm like the whole salt lady, and my tech husband works for me. And
that's cool.
so it just kind of all like exploded. And we just decided at one point, he was kind of in between jobs. Like he had quit one job and he was getting recruited by another. It was like the holidays too. And we were like, are you going to go like do this like fancy job, or are we going to like be the Salt family? And we were just like, let's just go do the Salt family. So Christmas happened. He like quit this job. And as of that New Year, we were like doing Salt.
Oh, that's great.
And from there, it just kind of exploded. Magazines started finding us, and people were just like, what are you doing? And I'm like, making salts with herbs from my garden. And they just were like stunned, like, what is this girl doing? And it just, now even still, like, now I'm like, oh, I'm doing more PR, I'm going on the news, and they're like, wait, what are you doing? And everybody's like just so curious about how I ended up here. And it's just like this crazy story that now I didn't expect to happen, but it's it's kind of wild.
great.
Yeah. So now I'm the Salt lady, and and that just happened.
Is everything still from your garden?
Not all from me, but it's all local grown.
Okay.
We either grow it ourselves. So rare stuff, there's like spicy unicorn here, which has purple cayennes.
Yeah.
Nobody grows purple cayennes but my husband. So when we have that flavor, it's all stuff that he grew, or very close friends of ours that we gave plants to, or starters, and like we got some stuff from theirs too, but it's all seeds that he started. And then some stuff I get from like larger farmers that have like big operations and they're growing tons of it, and we're on a very, very small property. People are like, oh, your farm, and I'm like, I don't live on a farm. I live in a neighborhood, and I've just like zero-scaped my yard. There's no grass. It's just like herbs all in the back. But we just don't have the space to grow everything that we needed. And that was one of the big jumps too. Eventually I was like, well, I can't do this with all stuff in my yard. Like I can't like feed our whole family off of that.
Yeah.
And it was like, all right, I need one of my close friends, Punita, who has like a backyard buffaloes, like an Indian business. She was originally using all milk from her buffaloes. And eventually it was like, I can't keep up with this. I'm going to have to switch to cow's dairy. And she talked to me and she was like, you know, is your mission really like, you know, hurt by this addition, right? That like, is it local? If it's local from just some friend of yours who's a farmer too, is that not what you stand for too? And it was like, yeah, that is what I stand for too.
Yeah.
And that is really, really what I stand for, is sharing and community and collaboration, and that like that's the way that we really truly rise. And so it just was a natural fit. And then I have like people who grow like hundreds of pounds of basil, so giving me however much I need at any point is like no big deal. So I'm able to kind of keep a lot of flavors in stock. We have tons of variety though, because like when the purple cayennes are gone, they're gone, and then we have to wait till the next year. So there's certain flavors that are super rare. People are like hunting them down, and they're like, do you have it? You know,
That must feel good though.
it's
Like,
fun. Yeah.
it's, like,
And like people
special.
understand that like I'm not Walmart or Publix or
Yeah.
whatever. Like these come from my husband's love and passion for like growing these. And so when it's not there, it's not there. And they come back and come back and come back and just ask until it is, because they love certain flavors or whatever. I tell people every single one basically has a fan, like has some, and there's some flavors that are like dead flavors that people still ask about because they're like, oh, that was one of my favorites. You killed that one, you know? But there's always new ones. And last year I launched 6 new flavors. This year we haven't done any launching. We've just kind of like been figuring out how to streamline and done a lot of other collabs, like we were looking at the margarita rivers and stuff like that. So I've been expanding my collabs and doing other stuff. So we've just been kind of like rocking our flavors. It's like a really good list to the lineup. People haven't been complaining too much about something missing. Like we had Italian that was like, there was a big hole, no Italian flavor. And then people were always like asking for that. But now we have like almost anything. I always tell people, if that's not your thing, there's something else on the table for you. Like if you don't like dill, that's fine. I've got a bunch of flavors with no dill.
Do you have any sweet flavors?
We don't have any like that have sugar, but the coffee salt is like sort of for sweets and savories. Like I've got my Tiki Java hazelnut salted latte from Tiki Java, and that's really how it got famous. Was like all these coffees. Like people just started like, it was originally for like the steak people, you know, like espresso rub. They kept asking me for it, and I was like, all right, I can make you guys a coffee salt. That's doable. And so I made it, but then the sweets, like the cookies, or somebody bought it for tiramisu one time. And then there's another coffee cart that did this special with it, and that like blew up at Atlantic Beach. So people drive to Atlantic Beach out like an hour from Vernon Hill just to get this drink now. So that kind of like really exploded the coffee one. But that's the only one that's like really for sweets. And then all the margarita salts, some of them are like fruity. So I have like lime, strawberry lime, stuff like that. So some people use those like for like watermelon, salted watermelon.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. That's like a big thing, the salted watermelon. I
We
have
were
like,
just talking about that.
yeah.
That sounds
So they'll put the
delicious.
strawberry lime on that. Or, they'll mix it. But like
Okay.
my like tahini watermelon people will put lava on it. So lava is our hot one. That's the one you need then if you're into that.
Yeah.
I have like a whole group who are like, what about for my tahini fruit? And I'm like, this is the one.
Yeah.
Because it gives you the lip tingle. And with the fruit,
Mango.
yeah. Yeah. I have somebody who does that. Actually, Quinita too, the backyard buffalo, she posted a reel one time of her lavaing her mango slices. So yeah, that one's fun for that. But I always tell people like, be brave. They're salt and herbs. Like just try some stuff. Like it's not complicated. I'm not like, and none of them are like those artificial weird flavors where they'll like sway, like if you put like those fake lemon peppers on things, they're like really aggressive tasting. And these are like fresh lemon zest. Like it's only gonna light bright your meal. It's not gonna like be aggressively weird, artificially flavored. So just try them on stuff. That's what I was. I was like, be brave. Just try something in the kitchen.
So when we were when you approached us and I thought about you, I was in the middle of reading lessons in chemistry. It's funny that you're dressed like this. Did you watch the show?
No, but I think I have the book and it's slated because I feel like I never like have time to like sit down and relax and read. But when I go on vacation, and I found it in a little library and I think it's the one, and I was like, this is my book for
It is totally
for
your
my
book.
vacation.
I was like,
So I'm going on vacation at the end of the month and I'll finally
read it.
I will on my
gosh.
vacation. I'm gonna sit by the water and read that book.
Because the way she explains, I know you were a science teacher, right?
Yeah,
But I didn't know what kind of science. I didn't know it was.
I taught seventh grade, so it was, seventh grade science is like not any in depth about any one particular. So like you learn all sorts of stuff. So I was kind of like
General stuff.
Yeah, general science. We
Okay.
did lots of rock cycle. Things like that, It was just basic stuff. Like I felt like my main job there was just get kids from like A to B. Like I was there to show them how to do school, have a good time with them and that. But the content and all of that, obviously we're in the world of ChatGPT. Like those kids that I taught now, they do not need to know the rock cycle that I taught them 7 years ago or 8 years ago, or whatever. They can just look it up when they need it. It's just so easy to do that. But that was like kind of my job there. It was very much more like student guidance than any that was part of why I picked middle school, is because like I wasn't really like into physics or like anything. I just kind of got to college and I was like, what am I gonna do here? And it was 2009, so money was just everywhere in the the apocalypse of 2009. So I was like, what kind of jobs like can you always have? And I was like, I'm gonna be a teacher. Teachers like even right now in 2009 there's no jobs and there's teachers. So I was like, and I had already had my older daughter that was like my stepdaughter with my ex, and she was already, so I was like, I gotta like, we have this kid and I'm gonna need something stable, so I'm just gonna be a teacher. And then I fell into middle school because I was like, I don't really have any like subjects I like really need to teach here. And they had this middle school math science program at the time because it was so in demand that even now still that's like the hardest position to fill. So I was like, math science, sure. So I wasn't even like a science person or anything. And then when I got there, like my first jobs were in science and I did really well at it. So nobody ever thought to move me. I had my degree. So I had both the whole time, but I never taught a day in a regular classroom of math. I only ever, as a full teacher, ever taught science, but it wasn't because I couldn't teach the other one. But I was never like a sciencey person though, like or anything like that. Like when I got to the upper level stuff, it wasn't like, I was like, oh, we have to do like the hardest math of like college, I just didn't. That wasn't like my thing. Was like being like the pro at the science or the pro at the math. I was like, they're 12. Can I like, like what is the important stuff here? And I could do all that, but even all that high level physics, math, and all that stuff I never had to even touch that with the kids.
See, I thought this trickled down.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
No, and even the salt was just like, if people are like, oh, you like love salt. I'm like, yeah. I'm like, I am like, yeah. Like, yeah, but like, not like, there's like these people who are like, they come up and they ask me all these crazy in-depth questions about salt and this and that. And I'm like, I'm not like, I love local. that is like the base. And so when people are asking me all these in-depth questions, I'm like, that's not what makes these unique. They are unique because of the local grown herbs that I put in them.
Yeah.
That, you know, the base salt is from a large manufacturer. I don't like people like, you go out to the beach, and I'm like, no, I am not out at the beach collecting the salt. Like, you know, and we go through, as the other thing, I think there's a misconception around like how much salt I make and how big our company is. It's like, I couldn't even get that much salt like myself from the ocean. We sell thousands and thousands and thousands of bottles a year. Like I wouldn't even be able to get that amount of salt from the ocean. I would need a whole nother company to do that. So I really am intentional about that local part of it. And that's really like what is so important to me. And so that was what I was doing. I was just kind of like having fun with herbs from my garden, and my husband doesn't really like pesto. So that was like the original catalyst, was like, I have all this basil, you don't like pesto, Pinterest 2020. And I was like, what am I going to do? And I saw all these different salts, and I was like, oh, I could definitely do that. I can make some salt. And I made like, you know, a pound, which is like hilarious now. Like, we would never make a pound of salt at a time. Like, you know, like if I was like, oh, it'll maybe make a pound, my husband would be like, oh, we're not processing that, throw it away. Like now, like it wouldn't even be worth our time. But I made like little tiny pans, and I like figured it all out. And now we process like 10-pound pans, and we do like, you know, 10 of them in a day, you know, and so we just like, it's like a totally different like thing now. But it was just this literal experiment in my kitchen where I was just like, oh, I'll make some basil salt, since my husband won't eat this basil as pesto, because I had tons of it.
Yeah.
And then it just, but it wasn't any like deep love of salt, or like it wasn't any like it wasn't any deep like intention on like making a business. There's like all these women I meet in this world who are like, I wanted to like open a business and like do that, and I was like, I have to open a business. Like that part was like, it's like if I could do this and not have all the business part of it, I would be like way more into that. And that's basically what I've done by like forcefully hiring my husband on to like deal with all of that stuff, so I don't have to deal with it, because I just want to talk to people about local food. I want to get people to eat fun dinners. I want to talk about like community building and all that stuff, and that's what I spend my time doing. And now I have him to deal with the rest of it. So
Yeah, the best of both worlds.
yeah, for sure.
So how did you make that switch? Like, you went from the 1 pound to now 10 pounds. Like, how did you decide we are going to do this?
I mean, that's the thing too, is I didn't decide it, you know, like it was the first bottles. I tell people I ordered like 200 bottles from the first batch, when we were like, okay, we're going to like buy a bulk order, and it was 200 bottles. And the first batches I made, I think I ended up making like 60 bottles, like when I sold for the first time. And
Was it just the basil, or was it different spices?
we had a few things.
Okay.
Unicorn, the spicy unicorn's like a version of that, but unicorn's just plain purple basil. So that was one of our first flavors. We had like a lot of like one single ingredient flavors, rosemary, chive, you know, just some like, you know, and there, some of those flavors died they existed one time, and then they were gone. And then I just was like posting on Facebook and stuff. And then my husband worked in e-commerce. That was like his job before me, so like he made me a website and an email and all this stuff. So I was like, oh, I already have you know. And people were like, what is this happening? And then all these teacher friends of mine would buy it and stuff like that. So the demand just, you know, up, sold out those. And by Thanksgiving time, it was kind of like, I can't even do events. I don't even have salt like to do events anymore. Like the salt that we had made that year was already like kind of gone. And it took my whole year to make those 200 bottles, basically, because I had to figure out labels, which did not look that nice the first round. And I had to, like, our first ones were literally something I made myself on Canva, just like editing it all. And then, you know, just one step from there, getting a logo. I was like, I guess I need a logo now. And it was really Edible in Northeast Florida. And I'm familiar with them. They're a magazine, local food magazine. But they came, well, they emailed me, and they were like, oh, we're going to put you in our herbs and spices issue. I was like, the magazine I've been like reading, the foodie magazine, like is going to put my, like, I was like mind blown. And it just happened to be their herbs and spices issue. Like they just happened to be doing it. And I just happened to have just started my business, and they did a whole spread, sent the photographer out, and I was still cooking in my house. Like I was like, I guess I need a commercial kitchen now. Like I'm gonna be in an Edible magazine. Like I guess I gotta be legal. And that was January, like, you know, they came or whatever. And then the issue came out in March, and I was like, well, I guess I better be legal by then. So we like got a commercial kitchen by March that year, and I I'm in my fourth commercial kitchen. We moved a lot because we do a lot of shared kitchen spaces. So
Yeah.
as we grow and our needs are like always changing, because as each one of these steps has happened, like I'm like, oh, now I need more salt. Now I need this and this. So it's just like all these things, like in a business ownership, you're just like, oh, another problem to solve. Now I need to buy 10,000, not 4,000 or whatever. So I've just like, it's just been one step after. I mean, I've just been like figuring it all out, like just slow and steady as the problems come. But since I didn't say like, oh, I want to start a business, like I didn't have like some big business plan that was like, this is my 5-year plan. I was just like, oh, we're making salt. Let's figure this out. And obviously I wanted to be at RAM, which we were in RAM by not even a year. After I had like sold the first salt, I would say I was at RAM, and then all the other markets I've been in. So every brewery in the city, every alleyway, I don't even know. I've set up every neighborhood, everywhere. There was a year we did 4 to 6 events a week between the two of us. So we've set up at every market, everything. So that was like our first step, was like all of that, and then realizing just for our stability and our family's sake that like that's not sustainable. So we really went into e-commerce, and I was like really trying to build that world. And so it's just been like, it's all just happened as I've gone and weaved through it. But it was not like any one big thing that like just happened. And then I was like, I guess I'm the salt lady. People started making me hats, and I was like, oh, I guess I'm the salt lady. Yeah, there's a friend of mine. She gave me like 5 hats that all say the salt. So now everywhere I go, I have my salt, and people are like, oh, you're the salt lady. I'm like, oh yeah, I do have my hat on. It says I'm the salt lady, but it just sort of happened accidentally.
Organically.
That's great. Organically, for sure.
That's cute.
That is cute. Are you still at RAM?
Yeah. I was I'm Maker of the Year this year, so that and I'm there 52 weeks out of the year, all the time, rain or shine. Lots of rain this month, but still there. On Farmers Row, that's my heart, my love, my passion. Like they'd have to rip me out of Farmers Row because that's just where I belong. Is with the farmers and with the food makers, and that's like really, if you boil down like the thing that I end up talking about the most, it's local food. And so there's no better place than Farmers Row at RAM. And then I'm full-time at Atlantic Beach on Sundays now. Okay. There was a time I was like kind of all over the place, popping around, St. Augustine and all kinds of stuff, but we settled in there about a year and a half ago or so, full-time. I'd popped up there like a lot before. Atlantic Beach was one of the first food markets I even went to when I was like kind of figuring all this out. I was like, oh, all these people are at Atlantic Beach. And then Puni to the backyard buffalo, like I was like hunting her down. I was like, where's this Indian food maker, even when I was hugely pregnant, we went out like masked on COVID times to like see the buffalo, to have a tour, I was just so interested in what she was doing. And so I hunted her out, and I found her at Atlantic Beach. And so I was just shopping there. And then eventually I was like, oh, I guess I'll pop up here too, because I guess I have this business now. So I'm going to go pop up there. But I'm full-time at RAM on Saturdays, full-time Atlantic Beach on Sundays. And then throughout the week, it's just like always full of like wholesales and this kind of stuff, and making the salt and all of the different orders and things. Our e-commerce takes a lot of our time now too. So I just do all of that kind of stuff throughout the week. But just those 2 markets now, no weekday markets unless it's the holidays. I end up at lots of weekday stuff at the holidays, but during the rest of the year I keep my weekdays clear to do all the other stuff. So
good for you. So like, what's the most human moment you've had at the market? You said you've been going to market since you're young.
Well, so like the first thing that came to mind, the first things that come to mind would be like interactions, especially with people who are like queer, and I can tell like maybe feeling like they don't have a place to be, and like having them come to me week after week and just come hang out and chat. And they say comments about my flag. I always have my everyone's welcome here flag, and just like knowing that I still have that impact in a non-educational setting, because back when I was in the classroom, obviously I was like welcoming of all students, but it's different when you're at the market to like have that type of connection with people. And I really felt like I have these few memories that just shot through my mind of young kids saying oh, I like your flag, or having that moment where they felt safe there. They felt like, oh, this is a place I could be. And those are the most human moments for me, because that's what the market's about. It's like, I don't know if you're familiar with Blue Zones, but they're like a health organization all over the world, but they talk about that importance of like eating and markets, and like there's just so much more than just the food that is there that impacts your health. And so watching those moments where I can just see that space lift somebody up is just definitely you know, that's the real people stuff.
So you said you had little margarita
I
treats.
know, like, so we call them ceramic salt rimmers, but because there's like nothing really even that exists like this. So this is a collab with a good friend of mine, Kelly, and people kept asking for like sets of my cocktail salts. So I make a bunch of different flavors with the seasons, same as those. So they're always changing. And people
cool.
are like, the big sets that I used to have were like only one flavor, and people are like, I want more than that. So I was like, I have to do a piece, and so I collabed with her, and they're just so fun. We have like 8 colors or something like that.
cool.
I made them at the holidays, and I was like, oh, this will be really fun. And
Yeah, that's a good gift.
apparently people need this year round because they're still buying them in August. So
Yeah.
I've just been we've been doing more and more of these. So that's a really fun collab. I love doing collabs too. Like I have collabs with coffee shops.
Yeah.
I'm at Dofi, the donut shop in Mandarin. I'm always like, the more collabs, the better. So that was bred from that. And then just people asking me for that, like, multi-pack set. So that's how we got to that one.
I love that.
And you have another one coming out soon that you're putting together, right? A box.
Oh, our farmer's market box. Yeah. So that one we're going to do one that's a cocktail one, actually, or mocktail. Like all my stuff is very cocktail mocktail. Like even the infusion jars we sell from like another women-owned business, Rebloom, their stuff is good for cocktails or mocktails. So all of these are good for, even here at Tiki Java, they do kava ones and stuff like that. So they're good for either or. So we're going to have a cocktail mocktail box, which will have drink items in it. Some margarita mix from a local maker, our rimmer sets, some of the other items like that, and delivery blooms will be in there. And then we're gonna do the farmers market in the box one, which is like gonna be that's like my pride and joy, because like I like drinks are fun, but I'm a foodie, so it's gonna have honey, coffee, all the like big. I've set on a poll and people voted, so they voted for what's in here and they picked the stuff.
So it's a one-time buy. It's not like a subscription or anything.
No, it's gonna be like a holiday gift box.
Okay.
So you can like give like a farmer's market to somebody. So
that's
or maybe I'm sure it's
cute.
gonna be people buying this from themselves for sure. But the idea is hopefully like at the holidays, people are always asking me for like or they'll say like, does somebody make that? And nobody does. So I was like, all right, I can make one. So I decided this year, I was like, all right, I'm gonna really do. And because I love collabs, I was like, this is such a great opportunity to do all the collabs with all these different people that sometimes I don't get to work with, like the honey maker or, you know, like the person who has the coffee in there. I haven't ever gotten to collab with them, but we've like always talked about it. So it's just a great opportunity to do all of those collabs and highlight more of my favorite local businesses, because there's never enough time for me to talk about all the local things that I love. So
Will you have a max on them, or is it going to be however many is ordered? There's going to be like a deadline. And
I guess we'll see. Well, so we're gonna launch it at there's Orange Park Fall Fest is like kind of our big first festival of the year. So that'll be the first opportunity to buy it in person, and then we're gonna launch it online to all our subscribers email. Like a lot of we launch things early and everything for our email subscribers, so all of them will get the first chance, and then I guess we'll see from there. Like this one, the first time when she gave me the first 6, she was like, if they don't sell, you can give them back to me and I'll sell. I'm like, oh, honey, you don't, I was like, Kelly, get started on some more, baby. Okay. And now like she's trained her son to throw. So now her and her son both do them. And now he's like pumping them out, but I'm like, I need more. There's times I was sold out for like weeks on end. And I was like, come on, where's the river? So, I never know how many people are like, even the makers in the box are like, how many are you going to sell? I'm like, oh, I don't know. I guess we'll see. So, but thankfully the holiday season's a long time, so we'll make more, but I don't know how many. Maybe we think maybe 100, but we'll see how many people
You'll
buy.
sell big.
Yeah. I always do these different things, and then I'm like, is this too many? And then they buy them all, and I'm like, they always buy them all. So we do mystery packs. We're doing our fall launch, and we stuff them with prizes. Last year I did 150 of them, and this year I was like, just for my own sanity, I'm not doing 150, but they all sold. People loved them, so I never know like
People
what
love
people are gonna
those
buy.
mystery
Yeah,
things.
they do love it, and then I put all kinds of prizes in them. So
That's cute.
there's a prize in there, then that's
Yeah.
for sure.
That's
So, yeah. So I do all kinds of stuff like that. So I have no idea how many we'll end up with.
They make great gifts too.
Yeah. All these like the salts people love to put in like stockings. You know, I do a lot of that stuff, and then I do like bridal showers and the stock the bar parties is like a big theme, I guess, right now. So I've had several people buy the rimmer sets because they need like a unique gift for those, because everybody's like bringing more and more liquor. It's just like those parties end up just kind of being like a lot of the same stuff. So people come and find me for that. And I have people who are my salt customers and then they come see me. Like I call the cocktail area like gift land. I'm like, that's like funsies and whatever. So those customers will come see me when their sister's birthday or whatever. So I always say like my prime time is holidays because we just do so much gifting and stuff. Besides our bread and butter, our daily, the way that our business survives is people eating dinner with our salts every day. That's like our main product. But these are so fun when they leave. I know that somebody's having a good time, like whatever. Even if it's a mocktail party, they're going to have fun, whatever is happening with that stuff.
That's cool. Now, since everything is local, how do you manage consistency?
We don't. Like that's like I don't. Chaos is just part of life. So I'm just like, it's out, and it just is what it is. And then sometimes we're literally like, I'm like, take it off the website, it's gone,
Yeah.
because we're out, and there's certain flavors that, like that's why they're famous, is like because people are hunting them down. It's like, why is like some Prada bag like $1 million? It's like, it's rare. Mine are all the same price though too, like whether it's rare, whether it's not, they're all $12, 3 for $30 at the market. We always do a market special for everybody. So a lot of people will, even if they can buy it online, we have a website and everything, they come see me in person because I'm special and people have to talk to me. My husband says it's like the Sarah experience. They want to like come chat and whatever, and they're always like, "Oh, it's just you here," and they're like, "Is she here?" And they'll be like, "Oh yeah, she'll be right back. They'll wait," whatever. But yeah, he's like, they get disappointed when it's me and not you.
That's funny. So you think settle in. That's good.
He's a good salesman, but he doesn't cook like I cook. It's different. When you can like chat, people like to, especially when they do have favorite flavors, they want to tell me about things they're making with it, or ask me like questions about what to do with them. And he can cook dinner, but he is not like a recipe Rolodex. I've got this like weird recipe Rolodex almost from all my years of cooking, and he definitely doesn't have that part. So if people want to like talk details and like deep down all of the different like flavors, like I'm the person to talk to, not him. So
makes sense. Got that. Do you find yourself like outside of just like consistently cooking and doing all that stuff? How do you do like everything else? Like how do you balance your life?
Well, thankfully, like I don't do all that cooking part. Like I've like that, I mentioned before that I deal with like a lot of hand pain problems. So throughout, as I've been growing the business, it's like at every step, it's how are we going to be sustainable and still comfortable for me, my family, my daughter, my husband? How are we going to like do this in a way that feels good to us? Because that's why we're doing it. And so it was like, all right, Sarah cannot be bottling all of these. Like I was having too many problems. And so we figured out a way that it was my husband, and then I have one employee who does a lot of the bottling. And so I just like take tasks that I don't need to do, that for whatever reason, like I don't need to bottle them. That's something somebody else can do. We take that off my plate, and then I could focus on the stuff that that nobody else can do, like coming to talk to you guys or being on the news or writing a grant application or whatever it is that I need to actually do. So I just try to like focus on those areas that are my areas and what I'm working on. And it's a lot of like the PR and the marketing and that. And then anything that's not for me, not for me. Even like graphic design stuff, I've tried more and more to like even flyers and things. Like I met somebody through Jack's Creators again, and I was like, oh, let me try to like learn how to offload this task to somebody else. And so I just try to know where it's like, this is not something I have to be doing right now. And that there's something that like my brain and my body is better off being spent doing. So that's how I kind of manage it all. But I don't like manage it all either. There's always stuff, right? Like that's slipping through the cracks, or you forget, you don't have time for. You're like, oh, that was my goal, and now it didn't happen. So I guess that's next month. So there's I'm very comfortable with change. I love change. I understand that change is just life, and so I'm like, oh, another change. This is a new pivot, and businesses don't survive if they don't do that. No. So neither do teachers. So like I've already have that like pivot like in my blood, because 12-year-olds are coming in your room and your copy's messed up. You just got to figure it out. So I'm always just like, oh, this is not working. Let's we got to pivot again, and I'm down to do that. I don't mind switching it up.
Nice.
Yeah. How do you find balance between personal parenting and work and being married?
Well, it helps in like a lot of ways that we do it all together. I mean,
Yeah.
people, you know, are like, oh my God, I can never, you know, never. And I'm like, but like, at least for me, like the whole purpose of my life is to be with my husband and my child. So, I just want to do as much of that as I can. Like my husband's my bestie. I love him. I love to hang out with him and be with him. So I want to hang out with him all the time. And then now like my little bestie loves to come to the coffee shop. So, you know, we go to a lot of coffee shops. So she has like her special orders and stuff. She likes to come and judge all of them. So we like to judge all the coffee shops together. So I just do it all with her and I do it all with him. And that's how I balance it. You know, it's like I'm working, dropping this stuff off, but like I got my kid with me and that's just how we do things. And she unschooled, she's 4, so we're not in school, but we're homeschooling. So she'll just always be with me. So it's just, this is how we like balance our life by like doing it all together. And sometimes I'm like, no, mommy's got a meeting. I am leaving, you know?
Yeah.
And that just is what it is. But a lot of times it's like, this doesn't need my attention right now. I can give you my attention because you need it. And I just can ditch whatever it is that I you know, was going to work on, but is not really that important. So we have that flexibility to drop everything almost at any time, but depending on the needs of any one of the 3 of us. So it's just, you know, intentionality about like really being like, no, this is not fitting with us. This is not the balance that we are doing. There was a whole year, balance was my word. And I was just like, this is my word, the balance, you know, and that's like, it's just the forefront of what I'm doing.
How do you find balance within though? Like I know you.
So like that stuff.
So what about for you? How do you...
like all kinds of. So I did a lot of yoga that year too, the balance year. So I mean, all times on the mat. Like I don't even call it like yoga necessarily. Like sometimes I'm just at the gym, just you know, doing whatever my body's telling me, you know, stretching this or a lot of yin yoga and like the slow kind of stuff, especially because of the pain problems. Like there was a period of time where I was like an OTF girl and like all of that. So, and then I told you a little bit about my weight loss before we started, but I used to be like really heavy. So anytime that I am like, you know, doing that like chill zone time, at the gym is like really good for me to like have the balance, whether it's class or not. And then I just like, honestly, like so much time with my friends and like, you know, talking to people that like is like a core like part of what gives me balance is like feeling that community. So having a really good one, like now I like have just, so I can't ever, I'm like, I haven't even hung out with you in so long, you know, I've always like got so many friends that I love and really deeply care about. And so anytime I'm like, oh, I have some time, like, let me hit up so-and-so or whatever, and like, let's go get coffee. Like the thing I might have just done by myself, you know, and just, come on girl, let's go like sit by the river and, you know, have lunch or whatever. So I'm always trying to find time to like escape with the girls and kind of hang out. So those would be my 2 big ones. But the letting it go and stepping away had like, it's that vacation for me when I'm just like completely off, but because I have a really hard time because it's so in your face, you know, like your phones and everything, like to just like be like that I'm not looking at this. It's like really hard for me to do that in my day-to-day life. So to really like disconnect and like I like have to get out of town. Like, I have to be gone.
Like, nope, you cannot reach me. I cannot be reached.
But one time I was
like
in Palatka walking around a garden and somebody was like, oh, you're this old lady or whatever. They like looked at me and I it was kind of like we were just like the only two people there, you know? And I was like, oh, even in Palatka. I just got noticed. So that's
awesome though.
Yeah, cool. But also I was like, oh yeah, even no matter where I go. Like, well, she was nice. It was cool, but
yeah. So, what is your proudest moment so far? Like in all of it, like whether it be at home or business, like what, or a mixture of both, because both it's your own life
you
and
know,
business.
like I think I'm proud of the way that me and my husband and my family like function around like making peace for ourselves. Like that would be like what I think I'm proudest of about my family structure in life. Is just that we like have a great time hanging out with each other and doing this thing. Like it's just like miraculous almost, even that it is the way that it is. But just amazing that that's like the life that we get to lead. I think like if there was like a moment in the business that was like, whoa, that was like the moment was like getting Maker of the Year. Cause it's not even about like what I make. Like I didn't win because of like the stellar product I make. Like, that wasn't like the award. It wasn't like you make the coolest product here at the market. You know, it's about like what you represent and what you're doing for the market. And I felt like very recognized that the purpose of what I'm doing is to spend a great amount of time with my husband and my family, but to really, really uplift local food and local business. And I tell people, I think that's why I got the award, is not because I make salt, but because everything I stand on is everybody that I get to eat from, and I'm not powered without them, and they know that, and it's just, it was really like that moment where I was like, oh, you know, the world sees this, that like what I'm doing is impactful and meaningful. So that was super cool. Got a little trophy and stuff. So,
I was like reading about it. I was like, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that was really awesome. And now I'm like, it gave me the opportunity to be part of the RAM Advisory Council. Like, once you're Maker of the Year, you get the opportunity to join that, which gives me even more platform to advocate for the people I'm closest with and the things that are most important to me. Right now, I'm pretty much like the only like farmer like kind of person on there. There's some other food makers, but that's like, you know, people know, like, you talk to anybody like, oh, she's gonna talk about local shit. This is like her thing. So that was just really cool moment for the business.
That is super cool.
That is super cool. What's your long-term dream? Like, maybe with the collab, or
I don't know if there's like any one particular like person, or like, I'm always like, I never know like who you know, and I'm not stock any like particular like brands or anything like that, because like the coolest brands are probably some like small obscure women-owned thing in like California, I, you know, just have to like cross paths with. So I don't have any like dream collabs or anything, but just, you know, any ways that I can continue to like find ways to like truly impact our local food system is like big dream. So having a shop that had other food in it, or sharing other spaces, like there's like co-op places in other cities where they have like food halls of food makers. I don't know, you know, I never know where the next opportunity will come or what it will look like, but any way that we can continue to make real impact on this, like to me, it's like a crisis. Like, our food system issue is like a crisis. And so like anything I can do to awareness for that, you know, we talked even in my first interview about Rhiannon's Garden is like this like dream of like a nonprofit. So maybe that would be what ends up happening. I never know like what direction it'll look like, but some way impacting the local food system and continuing to preach the good word of local.
Would you say that that's one of the biggest imprints that you want to have on your daughter? Because like you were talking about you going to the market with your dad since you were young and that kind of stuff. So,
you know, like obviously I think, you know, there's importance in the eating local and all of that, and I hope that like the health benefits and all the things that she gets from it are there, you know. I mostly just hope she's wild and free, you know, like I always say, like, she's wild and free, and then that's what I really want for her, is to be wild and free. And so far she is. She's pretty wild and free. But, whatever that looks for her. So maybe she'll work for some Fortune 500 company, and I'll be proud too. But you know, like, if she wants to, she says now she wants to have a shop. She actually sold her coloring pages recently at the market. Duh. They had like a kid entrepreneur day. So that's cute. Yeah, so she says she wants to have a shop and whatever, but you know, maybe she'll be an artist, or maybe she'll want to be in finance, or you know, like I guess, like, you know, carry a briefcase and things. Like, I don't, you know, maybe not, probably not, but you know, she's pretty wild and free, but maybe that's what she'll like, you know. But I have this like the older stepdaughter that I raised with my ex, and so she's 22 now, and I have this 4-year-old. But like the reality of that is, when you see the top and the bottom, it's, you know, that whatever you hope to imprint, you have no, you know, you just keep on going, you know. And then who knows what they're gonna do or turn out or want to be, or you know, and so hopefully she'll just want to be wild and free, and whatever that takes her. You know?
I completely understand. I just went through that. I was like, you're doing what?
Yeah, cool. And you have to, and I have like some friends who are still like, oh, I'm in control. You know, they'll like say these things like, and I'm like, oh, whew, you don't know, you're not in control yet. You know, like, exactly. Parenting is just knowing you don't have control. You know, you
can like dissuade a little bit, but for the most part,
yeah, you can lean in a direction, but you definitely do not have control of this like little human that's gonna do all sorts of stuff. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, she's 4. So you're in the 22-year-old's life still.
Yeah,
That's awesome to hear.
she's 22, so
But it's still great to
there's only
hear.
so much time, to drive. She's living in
Yeah.
Tampa and doing stuff, but we recently met up at the Springs and stuff with the little one and things, so I see her when I can. But I'm the lead parent in her life, I would say.
Okay.
Still.
I love that.
So
Yeah.
so
What does
we
she think about you doing?
Oh, I mean, there was a time she was like living with us a few years ago, and she'd help and whatever.
Okay.
She loves this. She loves the markets too. She's like working for a coffee shop at the market for a little while and things. So she's into it too. So, and I taught with her. When that was like the thing. I had this like kid. I was like with my ex, and like I need this stable job so I can have this stable life for that kid, and now she's a grown up. And then looking back on that, I was like, man, was that a lot to try to be teaching and have enough time to like have any time for a child,
Yeah.
And so that was part of the decision making where I was like, when I met my husband, I was like, I told him I didn't want it. That my first Bumble message to him was like, I think we're a perfect match except for that kids thing. Like, I have this one, like, and she was maybe like 17 or something then, I was like, I just did that. Like, and then I was like, these are all my, like, I am not teaching. He's like, sure, cool. And I was like, and we're going to eat local. And he was like, yeah, sure. Okay, cool. And, and so, yeah. I was like, okay, maybe I'll have a kid with you then. And he's like, we'll have lots of fun. I was like, all right, sounds good. So, but it was just like, I just knew that there was like certain things that I like was going to do differently because of that. I got like a little hindsight before the birthing of my own child. So it kind of like I got a little of the parenting up part,
Yeah.
and then started again. So
I do have to commend you though, because there's so many people that just leave.
yeah.
So that's cool.
And there was a lot of that that like, at the beginning people would say like, oh, like you've been in her life, like, and and because I made the decision to leave like officially leave the relationship, and I was like, the only reason I'm still here is because this kid, like the reason I've been fighting and pushing through was like to be a parent to her, because it was very clear that I was the parent and still am, and so I didn't I was like always there, obviously teens and young adults are, they come and go and have all of their things, but I was like, whenever, when you need me, I'm here. And so, when she needs to fix something or something's going, I get the mom call.
That's what's up.
Yeah. So,
You're an awesome bonus mom.
yes. Yeah. Bonus kid. That's weird. Like, she's not my stepdaughter, it's like, it's more than that, like when you raise somebody for that long, she's definitely a bonus kid. Yeah.
That's so cool. Congrats.
Have you had a moment where you thought like, this is not for me? I'm not going to do this.
It wasn't even like this part of it. Like, it's like, can we make enough money? Like that? Yeah. Can we like functionally be married and run this business and take care of this child all together? Mm-hmm. That's definitely happened. But like, is salt for me, or like, is the salt lady, like, is like being the salt lady, like, that's definitely for me. Like, I didn't even ask for it, and it just like happened to me.
Yeah.
So,
It chose you.
yeah. And so even if it's not like the salt lady, the words that would come up in that like word cloud are like the local, the community. So even if it's not me, like functionally still like selling
vehicle,
salt to make our living, it's still gonna have something to do with that. And if the salt lady brand comes along with me and that's there too, that's cool. But as long as it's like Sarah and local and community, that's the real like bottom line for me. Yeah.
So with that said, knowing well and good that you are part of like the stamp and local food and everything else, what do you think that's part of what makes you feral?
Oh, for sure. I mean, I think that the real thing that makes me feral is definitely like motherhood. Like motherhood makes me like feral as hell. And it makes me feral in my work and my life and all the things. Like, I think when you say that, like, it makes me think like, what's like that thing that's like making it, like making all these like real passionate things happen. And like motherhood makes me care about the local food system. Motherhood makes me want a life that feels in balance. Motherhood like is a thing that like, why am I angry about this thing on the news? It's because like this is my child, right? Like, it's like, this is why it's making me angry. And so the things that like fire me up the most are all around that. And the localness is that, because I do feel like it's a crisis, because I do feel like our food system is fragile. And if I want this kid to eat in 40 years, then I feel like the thing that I can do, and the thing that is like glaring to me, is that this food system is like a mess. And I want her to have food to eat, and so I got to do whatever I can to like make it better than, you know, what we've got right now.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. And it just takes someone to do it.
Yeah. Somebody said the other day that I reminded them of that like starfish boy proverb. Have you ever heard of it? Like the boy is like walking along the beach and there's like starfish like everywhere. They like got washed up in the tide and he's like throwing them back. And I think that the story goes like somebody like stops and is like, "Oh, you're never gonna like save them all." And he's like, "But like, we got some." So, you know, and they were like, "That's you." It's like, I cannot convince everybody to quit their corporate stores. Like I know that that's never like, not in my lifetime. Right. But if I can get enough people to change some of their corporate store habits, or some of their, you know, their gifting or whatever it is to local, like anything to that, then I'm going to call that a win. I'm going to call it a starfish thrown back in the ocean. And it's just another step towards giving her what I want her to have, which is a better food system. And I can't single-handedly shop at these stores enough to make them survive. And so I need everybody else to do it too. So I'm like, go to local businesses, please, so they can survive. So that's, you know, all of it's just connected there.
That's awesome. That's a good answer. Thank you again for stopping by, Sarah, and hanging out with us for a little bit. Thank you, Tiki Java Jacks, for making us our cute drinks. I tried the bonbon. You guys will hear about it next week.
And she got the salts.
Yes, and she has the salt. So come try them out. Cheers.
Cheers.
Eat and drink local.
Of course.
We appreciate you. Summa Salts. Also, remember to follow you. What is your Instagram again?
Summa Salts. It's just Summa Salts. Yeah. And of course, there's like, I'm on the website too. I got summasalts.com. So you can buy the salts there.
Follow us for more. YouTube, Instagram. We have two. We Are Feral and We Are Feral podcast. We'll see you there soon. Bye.